when we first hear about power places, we think that such a place is a very mysterious and magical place. And of course it can be, but maybe not always in the sense that we believe. We have taken this idea mainly from the Native American Indians, and the idea is that you go out in the forest, you select a place that you like, you put out a medicine blanket on the ground, and then you sit down on it. Maybe you also put stones around you, you can make a medicine wheel. Then you can have some magical objects also, medicine items that you put out in front of you. Maybe you sing a song, light some incense, maybe you are drumming, and then basically you are ready to speak with your spirits. That can be your ancestors, it can be your personal spirit helper, it can be people from the stars, or whatever. You choose the one that you want to talk with. You call for the one that you want to have contact with. The word spirit is from Latin. It is the noun that corresponds to the word spirare, which means to breathe. It is the same root as we find in our ordinary word inspiration. So the spirit is what you breathe in when you get inspiration. It is the smell, the fragrance, the vibrations, the energy of the spirit that you have called. We can say that the spirit breathes out, and then you can breathe in the knowledge from it. That is also good symbolism. This particular spirit is now your God. The word God is an old Germanic word that means the one that is being called. It is probably the participle of the old Indo-European root gu. I do not know how it is pronounced, but it is spelled G-H-U, and the meaning of it is to call. It is related to the Sanskrit word huta, which means called for. The god Indra is Puruhuta, which means very much called for. So the word God was the word for the spirit that you had called in when you needed support. The power places were our first telephones, but this old telephone net was purely spiritual. There were different brands of these telephones, and each brand had its own gods. And those were the gods that you could choose between in the temples. Different gods could help in different ways, and in Rome this system was called cultus deorum. These brands are today referred to as religions. There were big telephone stations that we today refer to as churches and temples, and also those big stone circles, of course. There were normal stationary telephones that we today call house altars. There were mobile phones that we today can refer to as, for example, the Red Indians power place, when it is a mobile place that you can carry around in the form of a blanket and a bundle with objects and maybe a drum also. So the power place is the place that you use for calling a spirit. When you call, you use your voice. The more voice, the better. But the spirit answers with its breath. And the answer is something that you download by breathing in, installing the energy, the thought form, the feeling, the frequency pattern. Spirare, inhaling, was the word that they used for taking in, receiving. To take in is the same as to be filled up with. The same goes for the Swedish language, where we have ande for spirit and andas for spirare, to breathe. But the spirit only answers if you have paid, and you pay with your focus and with your belief and with offerings. You pay with energy. The concept power place is something that we have learned from the shamanic trend that has been going on for about 35 years now here in the Western world. Influenced by this, people pick up such stories and concepts about ceremonies from other cultures and other times, and then make kind of a copy of it. Maybe you go out and search for a power place without even thinking about what a power place really is. That you find a place that you call power place does not mean that this really is your best power place. Maybe your best power place is another place, a place that you already have but you never thought about it, because we are not used to thinking this way. And that has to do with our language. The Swedish word kraftplats is not a word that normal people are using. It does not belong to our daily language, and this means that we do not really know what it refers to. So when we hear it, we start using our fantasy and we build up something about it. We get the idea that it might be something revolutionary about it, and it might be something that can create a miracle for you. So in certain cases it might be true. If you want to find a power place, you have to know what your purpose is. What is the motivation? If your purpose is to put out a photo on Instagram, then you just have to find a place that looks good on a photo, and that's it. But there can be other motivations. Maybe you want to find a good method for introspection, for learning more about yourself. Or you want to copy a ceremonial behavior from another culture because you want to learn more about that culture. Or maybe you are just tired of the Christian God and now you think that Vakantanka probably is much better, at least more close to nature. To solve personal problems and to copy another culture is not the same thing, but you can combine it, and it might be a good idea, because if you get into a new space of mind, you might be able to see things from another perspective. But we can have a little warning here also. What is traditionally called an evil spirit is kind of the same thing as the doctor and the computer guy call virus. It is something that gets into your system and causes damage. You download a program that you think is good, so you open the computer to it, and then you also get something that you did not want. Your power place should function not only as a telephone channel and a downloader, but it also has to have an antivirus program.